Paul saw himself as a debtor or someone who's under obligation. And he says that 3 different times in 3 situations in the book of Romans. Let's look at them. The first one's in Romans 1:14. I am debtor, both to the Greeks and to the barbarians, both to the wise and to the unwise. So, as much as in me is, I am ready to preach the gospel to you that are at Rome also. Paul saw himself under an obligation to the Gentile world to preach the gospel to them. That was his calling by the Lord Jesus Christ. It was his task that was given to him. The work that he was supposed to dedicate his life to. And so he saw himself as being under obligation to preach the gospel. The second place that Paul speaks of a debt is in Romans chapter 8. In verse 12, he says, therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. For if you live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. Paul saw himself as a debtor to live according to the Spirit of God, or another way of saying that is to walk in the Spirit instead of walking in the flesh. Now, in the book of Galatians, he goes into this and he talks about the difference between the flesh and the Spirit. And basically what that means is if you are born again, the Spirit of God dwells in you, and he is leading you in the direction that is pleasing to God. Your flesh, at the same time, still craves and lusts after the things of this world. And so, in Paul's mind, the way that he views this is I'm a debtor to walk in the Spirit. So, there's 2 things that we see as obligations, basically, that Paul is talking about. Now, don't make the mistake here of thinking that Paul's talking about doing these things in order to be saved. No. He's already saved. He's doing these because he's in a relationship with Jesus Christ. Because he knows Jesus, he wants to preach the gospel. Because he knows Jesus, he wants to walk in the Spirit rather than walking in the flesh. The third place is in Romans 13. And in verse 8 it says, owe no man anything but to love one another, for he that loveth another hath fulfilled the law. So here we see the great debt that the Apostle Paul sees himself as having, or an obligation that he has, is to love others. He has received love from Jesus. He wants to, in turn, show love to others. These 3 debts, do you think about these? Do these motivate your life? These 3 obligations that motivated the Apostle Paul? Number 1, the desire to share the gospel. Number 2, the desire to walk in the Spirit. Number 3, the desire to show love to other people. And I just want to encourage you this morning. These are all motivating factors in the life of a Christian, and we should allow that motivation to drive us. That's the Spirit of God propelling us in those directions. That's why we're here. We're here to share the gospel. We're here to walk in the Spirit. We're here to show love to others. This is our great mission as well. I want to encourage you today. Let's walk in the Spirit, show love, and share the gospel when we have the opportunity. God bless you. Have a great day.